Good afternoon and welcome to Locked On NBA. On today's show, we have more fallout from the FBI investigation into Chauncey Billups and Rozier. Is this the biggest crisis of Adam Silver's career? Plus, we get to a pair of instant classics from last night. Steph Curry, still the most entertaining player in the league. Plus, is there any way to stop Shay Gilgeous-Alexander?
You are Locked On NBA, your daily NBA podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to Locked On NBA. However you're tuning in on YouTube or on your favorite podcast app, thanks for making us your first listen every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 of bonus bets to use across the app. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. I'm Wes Goldberg, and today we are talking about a pair of instant classics from last night, including two huge games from Steph Curry, Aaron Gordon, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and we're doing it with the help of Locked On's local experts. And as always, I have two of the best with me from the Locked On Nuggets podcast, senior NBA writer for the Action Network. It's Matt Moore. Matt.
Fun night of games. That late one was absolutely spectacular. Are the Thunder just going to play overtime games every night? Is that like what we're doing now? We're just going to play overtime every single night now?
Double overtime games from the Locked On Bulls podcast, also a Bears and Bulls creator for Bleacher Report. It's Haize.
Listen, I'm on the East Coast. These West Coast overtime games,
tell me about it,
drive me up a wall. But great, luckily it's been really good basketball. But let's not make this a regular thing. Please don't.
Preach, Haize, preach. We are still, however, discussing the fallout of the sports gambling and poker scandal that resulted in the NBA placing Chauncey Billups and Rozier on leave. We talked about the details of the scandal yesterday afternoon, and then since then we've learned that Tiago Splitter is going to step in as the Blazers interim head coach in place of Billups. And even after we got done with the show yesterday, I'm sure both of you, like me, spent a lot of the rest of the day reading and listening to all the materials on this, whatever we could find about this scandal. And here's what I still can't square. The NBA had already investigated Rozier for these same charges and cleared him to keep playing. And then yesterday he gets arrested by the FBI, and the NBA will tell you, well, we're not the feds. We don't have those resources. That's why we didn't find the same things that they found. And while there's truth to that, I still don't think that this is a good look for the NBA and for Adam Silver. So between this and the scandals of Jonte Porter, the Kawhi Leonard stuff, is Adam Silver facing a crisis when it comes to the credibility of the league with fans? Matt, we'll start with you.
Don't fall for Wes Goldberg. He's out here on Twitter trying to promote the idea that the Heat deserve compensation for the Rozier deal. Hey, so don't get confused. Don't let Wes slip one by you. I think there is a problem with the investigations. So there's been a couple of different instances of this, and a good example to me is that they started an investigation into Jackson Hayes' domestic violence case, and just like nothing was ever announced, and it just quietly went away. And like Anthony Irwin of Lakers Lounge has been talking about that consistently, and that to me is a much bigger problem than all of this nonsense. Like that's a much bigger problem that we're like, oh my God, there's gambling in this establishment. And it's a serious problem. Don't get me wrong, but also we're just like skip over the domestic violence that has happened with several starting caliber players over the last couple of years. These investigations do not ever seem to warrant what needs to happen. Now, in the case of some of this, I think a lot of this is probably the NBPA. That's where I would imagine it, because it's like, okay, well, why wouldn't they come out? Like it's in the league's best interest to show care for the integrity, to show that they're serious. So why not? And the answer is, how do you tell the NBPA players don't get to decide if they're hurt? Regardless of what they said pregame, how do you get to tell a player that? The NBPA would go ballistic over that. So something to keep in mind as this continues. But the broader thing right now is if you took a poll of all NBA fans, Haize, what is the percentage of support that Adam Silver would have right now? What's his approval rating if we polled NBA fans right now?
Right now, today?
Yeah.
Probably 8%.
Sounds about right.
I don't think he would have a high approval right now. Some of the stuff has been outside of his control, but some of it also has been the communication around things. Like it's just, you never want the integrity of the game to be questioned. We'll get into that at some point. But whenever things pop up, how you handle it, how you manage it is hugely important for how you're viewed. And I'd say this, Adam Silver never really feels like he truly gets out ahead of anything. Now, maybe behind the scenes he is, but just from a standpoint of what's presented out to the NBA fans, he never seems like he really truly gets out ahead of everything. And that's kind of one of the bigger differences between him and David Stern, in my opinion.
David Stern, when presented with the referee scandal and with a lot of different things, was very heavy-handed and very aggressive, and to the point where it was kind of the thing that people held against him. And Adam Silver comes in as the commissioner after Stern and basically is the opposite, right? He's going to be the player-friendly commissioner. He's going to do all these things. But Haize, you mentioned Stern there. Like, do you think that Adam Silver almost has to take a page out of David Stern's playbook here and just be like, you know what? FBI investigation, all these things, we could do the due process thing, or he could come in swiftly the way that Stern did in those instances, Malice in the Palace, and things like that, and just heavy punishment, set an example. Do you think that he almost has to go in more of that direction right now?
I mean, that's difficult to say. Man, I think in some cases, yes, you do want to be more swift and stern on stuff. I think, and I know it gets into a tricky category for like the Kawhi thing. I think a more swift kind of action on that, even if it is something just initially while you do your investigation, would have been warranted there. When it comes down to charges, you get into a little bit of a gray area until things it gets to a certain place legally. But I think overall, like a more stern, quick, swift action from Adam Silver is probably needed around this time.
We got to be realistic here, guys. Like, Adam Silver has a phalanx of attorneys advising him on these things. And you can never expect a multi-billion-dollar business to act swiftly without regard for the possible legal consequences. If you take drastic action against Kawhi Leonard and he countersues and you lose, that's devastating, not only from a monetary perspective, because the owners are like, why did you lose me money? But it's damaging for the league's perspective as well, because they accused a player of something that he was cleared of in court. It's the same kind of deal here. Unless Chauncey Billups goes to Adam Silver and is like, yeah, no, I was in these illegal poker games and definitely was rigging them and blah, 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 blah. Like, unless or in court pleads guilty, then I don't know what basis the league would have here on the standing. Like, you have to have some respect for the consideration and like the carefulness they have to operate with from a legal perspective here, because you don't want to be on the other end of it. The other thing I would say is, like Wes mentioned, like how Stern was with the referee scandal. Is that why Scott Foster continues to ref? Is that why? Because go look at the implication of like the relationship between Scott Foster and Tim Donaghy. Like, Stern knew how to make it look like he was heavy-handed while brushing stuff under the table.
Also, Matt, I gotta not correct you, but I gotta push back on a little something. Like the Chauncey thing with legal, yes. The Kawhi thing, this isn't a legal matter. Adam Silver has said it himself. He's not held to the same. They have to have beyond a reasonable doubt. So I get what you're saying in the Chauncey and Terry Rozier thing. You like waiting until something legally happens with that one. I completely understand. But the Kawhi Leonard thing, that's completely at the discretion of Adam Silver and the NBA.
Yeah, but you've got to finish the investigation first. Like, I don't think we should be asked. This is the problem, is like, and especially on social media, is we just kind of jump to, it looks like this, do something now, suspend him now, and then if you're wrong, recant it. Like, you can't. That's not how this works. Like, you find out all the information, and then we go forward. And like, Pablo's done a great job reporting this stuff, and it looks terrible, and he's probably going to get dinged. But like, you got to do the process first.
Matt, you're absolutely right. There's something to be said about the process. I want to go back to something you just mentioned, though, that Stern was better at making it look like he was being swift and punishing these things and making it. Isn't that really 90% of this, though? Yes. Is what it looks like?
Yes.
And Adam Silver looks like something, like Haize said at the top of this. He always looks like he's behind on this stuff, and that is Adam Silver's, I think, biggest problem right now. Is I got a text from my cousin. I realize this is very anecdotal, but I would consider my cousin a casual NBA fan. And he's like, oh, is this happening with owners and players and all this? Like, is there more stuff? This is kind of the widespread belief, is that like this kind of stuff with Kawhi, with Chauncey Billups and Terry Rozier and things, quote unquote, being rigged. NBA doesn't like to hear that word, but like there is maybe a broader thought among casual fans that, yeah, this is kind of just going on everywhere, which is a problem for the NBA if that's the look.
I mean, this is the end of it, is like, I don't have any problem with guys being made examples of if they broke these rules. And that's what they've really got to do. Is like, you've got to be able to give people an example of like, this person did this and this is how we responded, because they did that with Donaghy, right? Like, lifetime ban, like never coming back. completely over, blackballed from everything. You've got to do the same thing here. Like Terry Rozier, if in fact this is proven true or within whatever they need to prove from an NBA perspective, it's got to be permanent. Now, again, like Chauncey Billups and Terry Rozier have like much broader problems here. Like we were sitting here talking about the NBA, and like these gentlemen are now implicated in something that puts the mafia at risk. Like their concerns are way more serious. We're talking prison time and then the chance of retaliation. So they've got bigger problems here, but the league does have to be able to push some sort of thing forward, showing that they're taking this seriously. That's where I think it's going to get thorny with the sports books, because I think what most people want is they want the removal of prop bets. And I will tell you that is going to be a huge, monstrous fight with their partners at the sports books because of the amount of handle that comes in on those compared to like in the NFL, you could do this easier because prop bet handle doesn't stack up with what the games are bet on, with the lines, totals, and spreads. The same is not true for NBA. So it would be, I'm just telling you, you can want it to happen. That's fine. But that's going to be, I think, the next major fight is what do you do about prop bets going forward in the NBA?
We're going to put a punctuation in this conversation for now. I'm sure it's not the last that we will be talking about this. We did have a pair of instant classic games last night. Another a double overtime thriller for the Thunder and more Steph Curry heroics. Do we need to do a better job of recognizing Steph's greatness? We'll do that next here on Locked On NBA Daily. Today's episode of Locked On NBA is brought to you by Robinhood. Your ambition just met its match. With Robinhood, you play for the win, not just on game day, every day. Locking in on every opening, betting your PR, beating it again. Channel that drive into your money. Robinhood puts you in control of your money. Trade stocks and ETFs, options, futures, and crypto all on one platform. You can now build and execute your own trades from a desktop with Robinhood Legends advanced tools, or take advantage of the new Robinhood strategies with a tailored portfolio managed by a team of experts. You expect more from yourself, expect more from your money. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that's Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. Today's episode of Locked On NBA is also brought to you by DoorDash. The NBA season is heating up, and DoorDash has found the perfect way to keep fans in their bag all season long. Whether you're watching the highlights, your fantasy team, or just your favorite player, DoorDash makes every game night even better. DoorDash is the official on-demand delivery platform of the NBA, and they're celebrating with something called the Bag Drop. Every time an NBA player scores 50 points in a game, DoorDash drops 50% off your order with Dash Pass the next day, and you're automatically entered for a chance to win the ultimate fan bag. Aaron Gordon just scored 50 points. We could do this right now. We're talking player-inspired drip, exclusive gear, and stuff you'll actually want. I love that it's not just food. You can get everything from snacks and drinks to headphones, ice, even socks, all delivered. DoorDash has you covered for late night highlights, last minute watch parties, and double overtime fuel ups. So next time somebody goes off for 50, use the promo code NBA50, and the next day get 50% off on DoorDash with Dash Pass. Plus, your shot at the bag drop. Dash Pass members only, 50% off up to $10 the day after a 50-point game with promo code. Terms apply. No purchase necessary. Ends April 13th. Open to U.S. residents 21 or older. Visit DoorDashInYourBag.com for full details. DoorDash, in your bag all season long. Thanks again for making Locked On NBA Daily your first listen. The best way to support the show, hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Follow us on your favorite podcast app. We are going up every afternoon, Monday through Friday, around 1 p.m. Eastern time. So make sure you are subscribed to catch us every day. We got some games to talk about, boys. Let's go to San Francisco, where the Warriors and the Nuggets went into overtime. Aaron Gordon erupted for 50 points, but it was Steph Curry who scored 16 straight to lead the Warriors to a win, including a clutch three to tie the game and send it into overtime. Over at Locked On Warriors, they talked about Steph's brilliance.
A high-level game, a very fitting ending where Aaron Gordon hits a three to go ahead with 25.7 to go. Then Curry ties it up with a three. He goes showman, full gladiator mode to the crowd. So fired up. How were you not entertained? Then the huge stop on Jokic. It goes into OT, and that's where Curry continues his takeover.
I can summarize it in 2 words, Chuck, and that's Stephen Curry. Actually, maybe I should use 3 words. Should I include Wardell, guys?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to call him. I mean, Mr. Clutch, he's out of this world. I think that's the first thing that comes to mind with the way this Warriors team played in the second half, the way they closed out this game. 35 points, as you mentioned, in the second half. He had 13 straight down the stretch to force overtime, open up the overtime, continuing his hot play, and those were incredibly difficult shots. Nothing new if you've watched Steph Curry play in terms of the threes, falling backwards, under pressure, doesn't matter. He hit clutch shot after clutch shot in this game.
So it's been a wildly entertaining opening week of the season already. We saw Victor Wembanyama and what he did the other night. We had big games from Anthony Edwards, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Aaron Gordon went off for 50 points. Donovan Mitchell scored 21 points at Madison Square Garden in a quarter. But despite all of that, is Steph Curry at age 37 still the greatest show in the NBA, Haize?
I think so. And I think all the things that have been talked about over the last couple of years of what LeBron is still doing at his age should probably be going to Steph as it stands right now. I think Steph is still closer to who he was at his prime than LeBron is close to who LeBron was at his prime. And I think because of that, Steph deserves to be talked about right up there. He's still one of the most exciting players to watch. He's still one of the most clutch players to watch. And a big part of why the Warriors can be a team that can make a run this year still comes down to Steph still being so close to the prime Steph Curry.
Yeah, I mean, he is, because like we live in an age of NBA 3-point fetishism. Like that's the reality, is like people are fetish for this 3-point shooting. Like it takes away so much for me, because I love watching, teams scheme up and help and like fighting through those things and smart cuts and like all of these like really great things. And Curry's got a lot of that to his game, but at the end of it, what people love is just like he just chucks it up and it goes in. Like that's the reality. It's like he's the greatest shooter of all time. And when I say that, I said this all last night on Twitter. He's not the greatest. When people say that, it's like he's the greatest shooter of all time of everyone before who has ever shot. I'm like, no. This is a rare instance in which I am telling you, in the great expanse of history going forward, it's never going to happen. There will never be a better shooter than Steph. I don't care how long infinity is. I don't care if the year is 3078 in the NBA. There's never going to be anybody better than Steph as a shooter. And people love it. People absolutely love the ability to just, no matter what it is, no matter what the defense is, no matter what kind of shot quality it is, he just chucks it up and it goes in. And that's what everybody loves.
I like the idea that Matt can tell the future and just say that there's never going to be a better shooter than Steph Curry. And you know what? I can't even say that he's wrong. In every other circumstance, I'd be like, there's no way that's possible.
I'll be long dead before anybody beats it out.
There's some universe out there that Matt Moore still has hair and there's a better shooter than Steph Curry. There's a universe where that exists.
I want to go to there.
Let's go to Indiana, where the Thunder went to double overtime for the second straight game to start the season. The first team in NBA history to do so. They beat the Pacers. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander scores a career-high 55 points in that game. He has 55 points and 35 points in his first 2 games. Looks even more unguardable than he did when he won MVP last season. Locked On Thunder host Rylan Stiles recently talked about how teams can go about defending SGA.
And that's the bind that he puts defenses in, man. Like, okay, you have 2 options, really. Be super aggressive, meaning both your body positioning of playing up tight on him and your physicality level of hand checking him and getting into his body that way. And he's either going to get by you if you're too close pressed up on him, or he's going to get the foul call if you're too physical with him. Your other option would be play softer on him, but guess what? That's exactly what he wants, because he can knock down these mid-range jumpers all over the court. So you have literally no choice but to foul him. And by fouling him, that's not a bad thing, because we've seen it work both ways, where there gets to a point where if you're a defense playing Shai, you've got to, and this is what is hard to do for a 48-minute game, you've got to literally play 90s basketball against him defensively and try not to foul out and hope that you foul him so much that they just can't call every foul. Like, they just can't call everything a foul because you've set a tone.
Matt, relying on the refs to help defend SGA? Bold strategy, Cotton.
Yeah, good luck with that. The SGA had 26 free throws last night. What are we doing? By the way, Rylan Stiles was saying that you can't talk about the officials with OKC in that first game, and just like, Rylan, stop, buddy. Just stop, buddy. Come on. It's okay that your guy gets them, but like, And he is hard to stop. He's right that like it's almost impossible. The actual way to defend him is to build a wall and make him shoot from the outside. What you want to do is you want to push him out of the paint. And it's really hard because his drives, right? But you've got to basically send enough help to back him off. And then once he gets to the 3-point line, you need to back off and let him shoot. He's just not a good 3-point shooter. He's not. It's never been his range. He has not added that to his game. Dare him to hit from 3 is really the only strategy I've got for SGA right now, with his ability to beat you with the first step and then his ability to contort to be able to draw contact and get the foul. A lot of Shai stuff are legit fouls. There's some grifting. I don't find it as egregious. It's mostly just volume, but the best way to do it is to dare him to hit threes. That's the only thing I got for stopping him.
You're absolutely right. You have to turn him into a jump shooter. That's literally the best hope. And even then, like we've seen Shai go on these stretches where it's like, hey, do you remember you're not that good of a jump shooter, Shai? No, okay, that's cool for today. So as far as stop the foul calls, that's just that genie's out the bottle. There's no way to put that back in. You're gonna have to guard him tough out on the perimeter. You're gonna have to stop his drives as best you can. And I'll tell you what, please, Matt, correct me if I'm wrong. Usually in the NBA, there's always at least one player that's really good at guarding a star. Name the star. There's usually at least one player that looks at the guy and like, hey, I'm pretty good at guarding him. Do we have that guy yet for Shai?
No, I think it's probably Lou Dort. That's probably like who it is. Although, look, I think we probably look at the Pacers last year and look at what they did. He had a quiet series versus the Nuggets. I thought Christian Brown did a really good job on him in that series. So like maybe Christian Brown. By the way, the small guards, no, as you saw Steph go off last night. But yeah, I don't think that there is one. I think it's probably like if a guy can do it, he's probably honestly on the Thunder. I will say that if put in a better position, I would feel better about Jaden McDaniels in certain situations, depending on who it is. Nickeil Alexander-Walker be another one.
For some reason, I just had like a terror flashback of JJ Barea guarding LeBron James in the finals. I'm not sure why that just happened, but to Matt's point earlier, like building that wall in front of Shai, that feels like the strategy that you use against Giannis. The problem is if you do it against Shai, he's still got 4 other teammates, and that Thunder team is just so loaded. You're lobbing it up to Chet Holmgren or Isaiah Hartenstein. Jalen Williams, when he's healthy, is over here. He's got shooters around the perimeter. It's just this Thunder team. It obviously he's the head of the snake, but if you do try to take him out, there's just so many other options there for them. So we'll see. Like I said, he's averaging what? I can't do quick math. 55, 35. He's averaging 45 points a game. Is that how math works? I don't know. Something around there.
That is correct.
To start the season. That's a pretty good start to the season. The Lakers, meanwhile, lost their opener to the Warriors, but can they bounce back and get a win over Anthony Edwards and the Minnesota Timberwolves? We'll talk about that and our favorite things from the week after this. Today's episode of Locked On NBA is brought to you by Rozier. Let's be real, making excuses doesn't solve anything. We've heard them before. It's just stress, I'm tired, or it happens to everyone sometimes. But when it comes to performance, sometimes your body just needs a little extra support. That's where Rozier comes in. Rozier.com offers fast-acting, doctor-prescribed treatments for ED, designed to help you stop making excuses and start making moves. Rozier makes it easy to get started. You just connect with a board-certified doctor 100% online. No awkward waiting rooms, no in-person appointments. If prescribed, your treatment ships discreetly straight to your door. The process is fast, simple, and private, and it's all handled by real doctors. It's about confidence, connection, and getting back to the moments that matter. Visit Rozier, RUGIET.com/LockedOnNBA to get 15% off your first order. That's Rozier.com/LockedOnNBA. Don't forget to use our code LockedOnNBA so they know we sent you. Rozier, stop making excuses and start making moves. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love how FanDuel gives me so many ways to play. I've built parlays, tried player props, even followed the live lines during games. It makes watching football even more exciting when you've got a little something riding on the action. Whether you're a casual fan or love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today to get started. All right, welcome back to Locked On NBA. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. The Locked On Podcast Network has a show for every team. You're going to want to check out Locked On Blazers. Check out our show over at Locked On Heat, where me and my co-host David Ramil did a full breakdown of everything levied against Terry Rozier here. You could check out Locked On Warriors, Locked On Thunder, for more on those games. Also, you're gonna want to check out some of the recaps for tonight's games. Celtics at Knicks. This, guys, is on Amazon Prime Video. The Knicks 3.5-point favorites at home. Haize, what are you watching for in this matchup, and who do you like?
Man, that is a great question. What am I watching for? I'm like, who finding your identity? Like, that's the first thing. Like, because I feel like they're still looking for that. That's first, and then who do I like in the game? You said Minnesota and Los Angeles, right?
Celtics at Knicks. We're starting.
Celtics at Knicks. Why am I thinking the wrong game? The Knicks. I'm going to go with the Knicks in this game.
I think one of the things I want to take a look at, I thought Cleveland basically just played down to the Knicks, and that sounds like slander for the Knicks, and that's because it is. And I think that I really wasn't really impressed with New York. I was more unimpressed with Cleveland and pretty critical of Atkinson. I'm going to be really curious in this game if that defense holds up, because this Boston offense, I do think actually played really well for the majority of that game, and then they got undone by BJ Edgecombe and Tyrese Maxey just having a superb game. So there's no real threat here to body the Celtics inside. Like, Towns might have a big game, but he's not going to necessarily go to work on you in the post, right? Without Mitchell Robinson, the offensive rebound, and especially it might be no Mitch Robinson, no Josh Hart. I think the Celtics are winning this game. I actually think like the Celtics quite a bit here in this spot. Think they're going to steal this one. It feels very much like a Knicks beat Cavs on opening night, and everyone's like, the Knicks! And then they lose to the Celtics, and it's like, oh, the Knicks.
Karl-Anthony Towns also questionable for this game, so we'll see. More like a game time decision there. Timberwolves at Lakers. Minnesota 2.5-point favorites on the road. The Timberwolves started their season with a big win in Portland, while the Lakers lost their opener to the Warriors. Haize, how can the Lakers bounce back?
They can't. Minnesota's winning this game. Anthony Edwards, my MVP candidate this season, they're not going to bounce back this game. And I think Luka's going to have a fine performance. I think even maybe Austin Reeves can have a fine. The individual performances on the Lakers, I would not be surprised if you have a lot of games where Reeves looks good, Luka looks good, but the team overall doesn't look good. I think Minnesota is the better overall team. They're going to win this game by a lot.
If they move Marcus Smart into the starting lineup, I'll feel a lot better. They need to put Gabe Vincent back on the bench and put Marcus Smart into that starting lineup, especially here. You don't have like the quick guard. Like Gabe Vincent, you basically brought in to try and guard Steph. You don't have that here with Minnesota. You need size. But the bigger problem is just like the Wolves' depth is so much better, man. Like off the bench, it's Jackson Hayes versus Naz Reid. It's Terrence Shannon Jr. versus Bronny. Like, I mean, it's not good. They're top heavy. And I do want to be fair to the Lakers here. Look, they're missing $52 million in salary. The best way to look at injuries is like how much those dudes get paid. Yes, there are sometimes guys who are way overpaid, but like LeBron's still worth $52 million, and that sounds about right. Like $52 million is missing from their roster right now. That's a problem. But Jackson Hayes in those small ball lineups, anytime that he's on the floor versus Rudy, Julius, Randall, Nas, like I think that looks really bad. Now, Luka kills the Wolves. They have a real problem with him. They don't have anybody that can guard him. Jay McDaniels can't do anything against him. So that might be a problem. But I think overall, part of this is like a very simple thing. The Warriors were 2.5-point favorites versus the Lakers. I think the Wolves are better than the Warriors. The Warriors won that game comfortably. So I like the Wolves here.
Back to your starting lineup point, JJ Redick has sort of intimated that the starting lineup will be in flux, maybe even matchup dependent, basically until LeBron James gets back and fills that obvious fifth starter spot there. It is time to finish the show the way we do every Friday here with our favorite things of the week. Haize, start with you.
Having days that we got to talk, a couple of days there, we got to talk basketball before scandal. That's really was my favorite.
Oh, what a time!
Hey, it's so long. It feels so long ago now. But the start of the season, that opener against OKC and the Houston Rockets was one of the best season openers maybe in my life. And I don't even mean that to be hyperbolic. I mean that seriously. That was one of the best opening night tip-off games that I can remember. So just kicking off the season that way, and then, like I said, before the drama started.
We've had ridiculously good games.
Yeah,
it's such a shame we're dealing with this nonsense with the scandals in such a great year. I'm gonna say my favorite thing of the week is this rookie class. VJ Edgecombe. How about Jeremiah Fears, man? 17 points on 7 to 10 shooting after looking completely lost in preseason. I rewatched that game yesterday. He was really good. Made some tough buckets off balance. Trey Johnson with 16 points. I loved Ryan Kalkbrenner for the Charlotte Hornets. Like, I need to see a little bit more, but I'm getting ready to bump up my rating on the Charlotte Hornets between having him and Moussa Diabate on the bench. I actually think that big question mark for them at center might be solved. Con Knipple hit his first 3 right out of the gate. Dylan Harper looked good. Like, Stephon Castle had a phenomenal game versus the Mavericks because everybody did. Defense wins championships, but he was really good. Cedric Coward, Haize. Cedric Coward did so many things in that opening game. There's just like a lot of guys. I'm really excited for this rookie class. Cooper Flagg will get going. It's going to be absolutely terrific.
I want to build on Haize's point. Like, not only was that one of the better opening nights, this was one of the better opening weeks that I can remember in a long time. I listed off some of the things that we saw between the 2 double overtime games in Oklahoma by Oklahoma City, the Victor Wembanyama stuff, Donovan Mitchell scoring 21 points in a quarter in Madison Square Garden, the Steph Curry stuff, getting a night, getting during a Warriors-Lakers game. So much going on. And I think my favorite part about it, guys, was I thought the NBC broadcast did a nice job of making everything feel really big that first night. And I think that ESPN with Inside the NBA felt fresh and big in a new way. These games all felt big. This felt like a moment. This felt like a really big opening night, not just in an entertaining way, but everything was, I thought, treated with the proper respect. Now, when the novelty of the new NBC partnership and Inside the NBA going to a new broadcast partner, when all the novelty of that stuff wears off, I just hope that they are able to maintain the momentum and keep making these games feel big. And even with some of these scandals that are going on right now, trying to keep some more of the focus on the basketball games that are happening.
I mean, don't worry, Wes, because next week is Amazon Prime in-season tournament time, baby. It's time for the cup.
The courts have been released as we're recording this. I can't wait to go and comb through all 30 courts and really think about them and actually care, but probably not. If you like what you heard today, subscribe to Locked On NBA wherever you get your podcasts, including on YouTube. Thank you to Matt and Haize for their expertise every day. Thank you for making Locked On NBA your first listen. We're going to see you back here next week on Locked On NBA.